oh, she's a boy. I was like, yeah, you got it, kid. You totally got it.
These are 3-year-olds that this person is talking about. Most people are bucking against.
Wait, that's it? That's the clip you're gonna use? That's the big scary trans people clip from Libs of TikTok that's gonna be used? Like, what is wrong with that? And also, it's kind of funny that 3-year-olds are smarter than Ben Shapiro on this topic. He keeps talking about how he's like, oh, how dare they talk about this with children, and children are like, oh no, we get it. You're just a bigot, Mr. Shapiro. The left has reached its breaking point. Maybe I'll just check this out. What's Ben Shapiro up to? Little detour.
Harris also noted that children of the community are also children of the community. She is, as we have suggested before, a predictive text mechanism come alive. She is just, what an unbelievable orator Kamala Harris is. I can see why she was picked as vice president. Certainly not because she was a black woman, even though Joe Biden specifically said it's because she was a black woman. Probably it's because she's so skilled at all of this. Again, she should be in control. We should give her more power, probably.
You know, when we talk about our children, I know for this group, we all believe that when we talk about the children of the community, they are the children of the community.
Oh.
Of all the things to get really mad at Kamala Harris, that's going to be the one? Fuck, I could have helped you out here, Ben. There's a long rap sheet. What the fuck?
Oh, well, here's the thing. Children are typically not children of the community primarily. They're children of their parents, which brings us to perhaps the biggest issue facing the Democrats electorally in the next few years, and that is that they have decided when you're an elitist, when you're a full-scale elitist, and you believe you should rule things top-down, that means trumping all of the intervening institutions. When you believe that you are the great godsend, that you have the keys to unlock human prosperity and fairness and justice, all of the intervening institutions that have their own visions of what that should look like have to go away. That includes the family. That includes local schooling.
Oh, see, when you said institutions, I was like, aren't you the limited government guy? Don't you kind of want to abolish institutions?
Includes your religious community.
And I'm getting really sick and tired of people who are multi-millionaires who live in mansions. We know he lives in a mansion. We've watched this terrible cooking show before, always talking about the elites, always being like, it's the elites that are coming after you.
Includes your state. All of that stuff has to be trumped. It has to be trumped.
Like, at least Hassan admits that he's rich.
And the leading indicator of this is when it comes to the social issue of boys being boys and girls being girls. Right? This is the issue. I really believe that this is going to be the death of the modern Democratic Party if they continue along these lines. Because it is one thing to say to people, you need to give us more power and we'll solve your economic problems. Increasingly, people don't like the sound of that. But the thing that people have never liked the sound of is, we need to train your kids in a bunch of radical genderized nonsense because we, the elitists, understand that true human happiness lies only and solely in the fulfillment of the sexual impulse, which we will broaden out to include all human beings screwing all other human beings and identifying as everything up to and including fictional characters and cats. Right?
God damn. You know what's so wild about conservatives is there has been some progress, yes, in regards to trans people, but it hasn't been a fuck ton. And what little there has been has made them collectively lose their minds. The fact that a teacher might feel more comfortable now than before saying, by the way, I happen to be gay, or saying, by the way, it's okay that a family has 2 dads, or saying, by the way, I may be non-binary or I may be trans, just because a teacher is more comfortable doing that, suddenly it's like radical ideology trying to turn your kids into pansexual furries, and this is the future that the left wants.
This is their idea of what is going to of what is going to solve the universe's problems.
Calling out screwing fictional characters? Yeah, good point. Good point, Ben. Where was all your anger at Tucker Carlson? What he was like slathering fucking Eminem posters and jizz. I didn't see you saying anything about that. His whole set was just basically cum at that point. You weren't saying anything.
Keep running up against reality here. And it's going to be very ugly for them. I think we've reached the breaking point on this. So the bleeding indicator of them reaching the breaking point is Bill Maher. So Bill Maher is like mainstream, center-left, 1996 Democrat. That's what Bill Maher is. I mean, I've interviewed him. I know Bill. We're friendly.
Center-right at best, I would say. He's just always been an asshole. Bill Maher's just a conservative who wants weed to be legal. That's it.
Okay, so Bill Maher on his show last week, he pointed out that the trans agenda to experiment on kids and to teach your kindergartners that they can be members of the opposite sex.
No one's experimenting on children. What are you talking about?
That they magically can become members of that is a lie. It is not true. And it is a social contagion that is damaging children. Here's Bill Maher speaking what is just basic truth and would have been acknowledged as basic truth 3 years ago. But now your elitist class is telling you that if you say it, it means that you're a very bad person. Here's Bill Maher.
The answer can't always be that anyone from a marginalized community is automatically right, trump card, mic drop, end of discussion. Because we're literally experimenting on children.
Isn't it wild how many right-wingers were just like, soy! As soon as this came out, they all got so excited. Like, who are you playing to here, Bill? And why do you keep using that term, experimenting on children? Who's experimenting on kids? Do you want to experiment on kids? Are you the Nazis? Are you looking to do some strange things? This is about the relationship between a kid and their doctor if they're trying to receive gender-affirming care. That's it. Why does anyone else have to have anything to do with this? This is... Cis people like myself shouldn't be a part of the conversation. This should be between them.
Maybe that's why Sweden and Finland have stopped giving puberty blockers to kids. Because we just don't know much about the long-term effects. Although common sense...
We actually do. There's now numerous studies. This is actually a bad decision that was made on their behalf, but there's an overwhelming amount of evidence about this topic now. You could have done a little bit more research before going on to this, again, wild transphobic rant. We've already seen the Bill Maher clip. Oh, he just plays clips for it and goes back and forth.
Separating us from gender happiness is you handing them power. It's the will to power, which is why you need, for example, trans teachers saying that they get validation from 3-year-olds. This is from courtesy of libs of TikTok. We're seeing more and more videos like this on TikTok, which of course is the repository. It's an online mental asylum. And that's all it is. So here is a person.
Am I wrong, or isn't the largest chunk of LGBTQA plus community people identify as bisexual? You are correct. So for the next Serf video that I'm working on, I'm doing a takedown of Jimmy Dore, Jackson Hinkle, and Kurt Metzger and their review of Bill Maher's video, and going through all the facts, because I don't really care about the feelings. I was way more interested in the data. And yeah, so when you actually look at psychologists who specialize in these fields and they talk about it, the #1 reason why there is an enormous increase in the amount of people who are identifying as LGBTQIA plus in younger generations happens to do with, and this is going to be a shocker to no one, the internet. Yes, it's the internet's fault. So you can go after Al Gore for this one. It happens to be because there is a mass proliferation of information available that wasn't available to previous generations, like myself, at a young age. And because of that, people are able to learn about themselves at a much younger age and then recognize that they are in fact something like non-binary or trans or gay or bi. And when it comes to bi people, there was a large social stigma in society, broadly speaking, towards bi men. There still is, and it comes unfortunately from both sides. It comes from the gay community, and it also comes from the straight community. So for bi men like myself, it's not exactly something that a lot of people, men, usually feel comfortable talking about. However, women feel much more comfortable talking about it because, and I'm sure you already understand this, straight dudes think that bi women is super hot until they, of course, lose their girlfriends to a woman, and then it's a tool of the devil or something of that regard. Yeah, so bi women usually lead the charge in identifying as bi over men, but that number is also slowly going up the less social stigmatization there is. On top of which, areas where there's more social stigmatization towards trans people, harder laws, more draconian laws, see smaller numbers of people ready to identify as trans publicly for what I would consider, I'm hoping, to be very self-evident reasons.
Explaining that he gets his validation from a bunch of 3-year-olds, and by he, I mean she.
So today was full of little happy gender euphoria moments. I got called Mr. Micah a lot today, well, completely femme, and that was really heartwarming that the kids just got it. But my favorite reaction, and it sums me up so well, I feel like, is I was in a new classroom and I took off my mask to blow my nose, and I just hear a kid loudly whisper, "Oh, she's a boy." And I was like, yeah, you got it, kid. You totally got it.
These are 3-year-olds that this person is talking about. Most people are bucking against.
Wait, that's it? That's the clip you're gonna use? That's the big scary fucking trans people clip from libs of TikTok that's gonna be used? Like, what is wrong with that? Someone is like being correctly identified for the gender that they assign themselves with. That's the horrifying ideology coming. Like, I thought there's so many clips that they always use where it's like, okay, here you can clearly see a teacher is trying to talk to kids about sex and this is disgusting or something like that. This is just someone who's like, I had a really good day. Someone recognized that I'm a man. Shock.
This, which is why you are seeing, as you should, major American companies which have kind of in covert.
And also, it's kind of funny that 3-year-olds are smarter than Ben Shapiro on this topic. He keeps talking about how he's like, oh, how dare they talk about this with children, and children are like, oh no, we get it. You're just a bigot, Mr. Shapiro.
Backed this agenda because they've been told by the elitists. They are the elitists, right? Stakeholder capitalism. That's the only reason State Farm is endorsing gender theory. Okay, because they, the stakeholders, like Klaus Schwab talks about, the stakeholders, the elitists in our society, they've decided they get to reshape society through the will to power. And so now people are saying no, and now they're backing off, as they should if they are smart. According to the Washington Examiner, the insurance company State Farm is discontinuing its support for the controversial Gender Cool project amid backlash following reports the company was donating books about transgender issues targeted at 5-year-olds to schools.
Oh, sorry.
State Farm's support of
third graders, not 3-year-olds, third graders. Yeah, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. But third graders even are smarter than Ben Shapiro, and with good reason.
Philanthropic program Gender Cool has been the subject of news and customer inquiries, the company said in a statement. This program that included books about gender identity was intended to promote inclusivity. Conversations about gender and identity should happen at home with parents. We don't support required curriculum in schools on these topics. We support organizations providing resources for parents to have these conversations. We no longer support the program allowing for distribution of books in schools. We'll continue to explore how we can support organizations that provide tools and resources that align with our...
This is literally the cultural Marxism, cultural Bolshevism, conspiracy theory Ben is citing here, just watered down. He likes to bring it out in a variety of different forms.
Commitment to diversity and inclusion, which of course...
And it's this consistent theme that, of course, there's going to be a set of liberal elites, scary liberal elites in our institutions that are trying to change the very moral framework of society, and that we have to eliminate them as soon as possible. And by the way, the same crowd that spent, like, what, the last 5 to 10 years talking about cancel culture, wokeism, how they're going to come for us, they're going to ban books and burn books, seems to me more and more these are the people who are interested in banning and book burning because they're very scared of gender ideology.
Are the priorities of Klaus Schwab. He talks about them openly when it comes to stakeholder capitalism. But here's the thing. No. The answer is no. You can continue down this path. And by the way, a myriad of companies have decided that they wish to continue down this path. They will pay the price. It's not just State Farm. Allstate has done this. There are a bunch of major American companies that have nothing to do with gender theory. Allstate. These are car insurance companies, for God's sake. They sell house insurance. And they're telling your kids that they can be girls. Continue. If the elitists continue down this path.
Yeah, this is more like, sir, this is a Wendy's parking lot. And here comes the drunk guy to tell us about how he's scared he is of trans kids.
Will be you wonder why populism is rising? It's because you guys overreached. It's because you decided that you were in control of systems that you didn't create and didn't control, and now you want control of them. And the people of America, and by the way, all over the world are saying no.
One thing he is kind of close to being right about is that there is a global panic and outrage that is being used primarily by the far-right authoritarians and fascists to vilify trans people. They're really picking them as a primary target. If you look at the far-right election that just happened in Japan, he was discussing about the institution of gender ideology that he's very scared of. If you look at Orban, he's made similar comments. Bolsonaro has made similar comments. Modi as well. It seems to be something that is a consistent theme. And right now, the right in America are aligning themselves with a lot of these people. These CPAC conferences that are going to different parts of the world to talk with authoritarian, neo-fascists. And the next one I think is taking place in Brazil. Hopefully, by the time that one takes place, Bolsonaro won't be in power anymore. But yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's likely to have some deleterious effects. Because when you seize control of good systems and then you attempt to twist the systems, sometimes the opposition takes the form not just to you, but of the entire system. And that's a problem. When you pervert the system, you say, what we're doing is stakeholder capitalism, then people say, we're not just going to oppose stakeholder capitalism, we're going to oppose capitalism broad writ. That's a problem.
I'm going to drown him out.
But attempt to wrest power away from the people who say that they ought to control you, the people who say that they ought to build the future, that is not misbegotten. It is widely appropriate at this point. In fact, it's beyond the point where it became appropriate. We're several decades beyond that. I know what you're thinking. It's time to binge some more Ben Shapiro videos. Well, you are right. You should. But first, like and subscribe. Perfect. I'll see you in the next video.
I saw a link to What is Woman. You should ask Kate Bush what is woman. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, we are prepared to embark on a mighty jihad in your name. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your humble jester, attempting in vain to get you to laugh. To our valiant knights of the Round Table, Benji Arnie, Tech Tink, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Mayred, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood. It doesn't matter what I believe, it only matters what I can prove. Egbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Coulter Smith, Jenna Tao, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevbot, EXE, Brian Ephraim, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojack, Saren 42, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Agent NDN, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our mugs and salute our brave heroes off to another glorious conquest.